Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Big Four podcast. My name is Luke Spring. I'm with the usual Brian, Nick, and Andrew. How you guys doing tonight?
Terrific. All right, a little sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and Andrew's just not going to answer.
I'm good. How are you, Luke?
You're good.
How are you?
You're good.
How
I'm
you
good.
doing?
I'm good too. I'm good too.
Cool.
Good.
I'm good. Stop eating your mic, Nick. As always, we are your number shows for all things sports. If you know, you know. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Big Four _podcast for more. I don't want to say keep saying exclusive because it's not really, but more content. We're really just going to jump right into it because there's nothing worth talking in the NBA. We talked about the James Harden trade last week, and it's too early to tell. The Bruins are kind of looking trash in their first 3 games, but they just can't score, and that's pretty much sums it up for hockey. But we have a lot to talk about in the NFL, foosball, football, whatever you want to call it, because the divisional round playoffs are finished, and now we have our conference championship matches set. And I don't know where we want to start, but the freshest game in my mind is the closest one, in which the Saints played the Bucks. And I can tell you right now that the Saints kind of sucked, and that was expected.
They should have lost to the Bears if they played a more competent football team last week. That team is never and will never be a playoff team, and they're screwed this year with $100 million over the cap. So the Saints will be a bad football team, probably finish last in their division next season.
Yeah, but what? You do feel bad for Breeze, though. It's his last game. He throws 3 picks. I mean, he's had a great career and stuff, but, like, that's just that's a little.
Brian made a good point, though. I mean, he really only won 1 Super Bowl. He has all these records. He won 1 Super Bowl and won to the conference championship. What? I don't know how many times,
Twice,
but less than a handful, less than 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I guess it's like you look at Breeze, you're like, wow, he's probably the most accurate passer of all time. But then when you look at his accolades, you look at his stats and they're phenomenal too. But then you look at his accolades like conference championships and Super Bowls, you're like,
Yeah.
He
doesn't have great accolades at all. It's just like he did have a good career.
It doesn't even have to be Super Bowl wins because Tom Brady in his era, in the Brady era, Brady dominated the Super Bowl. It's just even going to the Super Bowl, he couldn't even get out of his own conference more times than not. So
Eli Manning has had a more successful career if you want to judge it based off of championships.
He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but
I just don't think Drew Brees is that good anymore.
I think he's retiring at the right time. I think that if he went back to playing, especially after what happened this year, that's just pushing it.
Well, the main issue with Brees this year was his deep ball accuracy and his inability to, I guess, when the pot to wait and find an open receiver instead of trying to force it into double coverage. Now, Michael Thomas got hurt. He's his best receiver, but you saw yesterday, Slant Mike had 0 catches. So, I mean, Michael Thomas is not a good receiver. He's not a great receiver. We can establish that. I don't think Michael Thomas is that good. His numbers are just beefed because of the amount of targets he gets a game. And for Drew Brees, he put up early in the year, he threw to Alvin Kamara for 130 receiving yards in a game to his running back, because that's the only guy he throws to now. That's the only guy he threw.
Their best weapon.
I never thought Drew Brees was that good this year. I didn't think that offense was good, which I thought at times it was more explosive.
I mean, I don't want to go back to the Titans game, but I'm just going to mention that because you mentioned that Kamara got a ton of pass yards, but they should have done that with freaking Derrick Henry if they wanted to win. Just get him in open space, but they didn't. That's the last time we're talking about the Titans.
But a quarterback is hit the end of his rope when he starts checking down 13 times a game.
Yeah.
And he's refusing to throw it deep. And when he does, he can't hit the open man. And if he does, he throws an interception and triple coverage. He is so afraid of just getting hit and getting taken down and getting hurt because he got absolutely popped this year, broke multiple ribs.
Yeah.
So you can tell he gets hit. He might. I mean, it could be bad.
Die.
Right. So he's in his mind, get the ball out as fast as I can. Check downs, Mike Thomas, which didn't work, and I don't think the Saints were a 13-3 team.
Yeah, their offense wasn't going at all. I mean, they got the spark early from their special teams, from their punt returner. I mean, is that
New Orleans special teams or
Tampa
Bay being absolutely
No, it's
Tampa Bay
special.
being terrible.
They're putting the special in special teams.
Okay.
'Cause
Yes. Well,
yikes.
also you can argue that. Well, I'm saying that they got a spark
Exactly,
from their
yeah.
punt return team.
Yeah.
Tampa sucks on special teams, and I mean New Orleans took advantage of that, but they weren't able to cash it for touchdowns.
This
They
is
was
ex-
getting field
yeah.
goals.
Exactly what happened against the Rams, and those Saints fans will continuously complain about how they didn't get to the Super Bowl because of the bad call. Well, guess what, guys? You kicked 3 field goals inside the 10-yard line. You got to score touchdowns. They did the same thing yesterday, and you're not going to win games when you're just kicking short field goals. That team is so bad in the red zone. I feel like whenever I watch them, they don't score touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, they only got into the red zone twice. Tampa Bay got into the red zone 6 times. I mean, they were both 50%, but I mean, more times you get into the red zone,
Yeah,
more times you're able to cash in.
Exactly.
Tampa Bay is not necessarily known throughout the league as one of the best defenses in the league. Not
They're up and coming.
Even
Yes, they
New
are.
Orleans had a great defense.
They're
or
young.
The Rams, or they're not a top 5 defense, and they might need to be top 10. And they're not necessarily the team that's going to force a lot of turnovers. But they got 3 picks and they forced a fumble. I mean, that's 4 turnovers, and New Orleans only lost by 10 points. So imagine if New Orleans was turnover free. We might be dealing with a different game. But New
Even
Orleans
one
turned over 4
turnover.
times. Yeah. I mean, they only lost by 2 scores, and they turned it over 4 times.
Yeah.
It's
huge.
Yeah, what summed up the game for me was Jameis Winston having more pass yards through like midway through the third quarter than Drew Brees just by throwing 1 pass play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
That
the
was-
longest. That was the longest pass play
For the
scrimmage.
Saints all season.
Yeah.
Which was
Actually?
come on, guys.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That was
I know.
56 yards.
The Pats definitely didn't have one longer, so I
Oh,
shouldn't be
the
talking.
Pats didn't complete a pass all season. I'm
I know.
concerned. I'm
Hey,
Wasn't the
sure.
longest
concerned
like
they
50
didn't.
yards to Demir or something like that? Wasn't that the
Probably.
longest?
It probably
Yeah.
wasn't even 50 yards.
Against
It was probably like
Houston?
40 yards, and Cam just looked like he was throwing 800.
He ran back to the
He
opponent's
heaved
40. He
it.
ran back to his
He
own
heaved
40
it.
and threw it.
God,
Yeah.
guys stinks.
He
Yeah.
heaved
But
it.
I mean, seriously, that Jameis Winston touchdown, any 4 of us could have made it.
Which I don't understand because the Bears
I made that
literally ran
today.
the exact same play a week ago against them. I mean, Javon Wims is a brickhead, so he dropped it. But, I mean, Traquan Smith was wide open on that play, and the Bears just ran that same exact
That was
play on
no,
them.
the Saints ran it.
The Saints.
The Saints.
No, the
ran it.
Bears.
The Bears
No,
ran
I
against
know,
the
but
Saints
the
the week
Bears
before.
ran it against the Saints, and then
Oh,
the
the
Saints
Bears.
ran it
Okay, never
against the
mind.
Buccaneers.
I'm
Yeah,
getting my
and- but-
teams
and
mixed up. So,
when
yes,
the
okay,
Bears-
never mind.
When
that
the
makes sense.
Bears ran it, even the Saints had that thing somewhat sniffed out. There were 2 defensive backs in the area on
Mhm.
that catch. Yeah,
Well,
he's
yeah,
The
he
guy
had
just
bread-
fell.
Wims
He
and-
had
just
his breadbasket, but
muffed
it was
it.
there were still 2 defenders in the area. I mean, there was no one within the state of Louisiana of Traquan Smith on that play. I mean,
Exactly.
he had the whole field to himself.
oh yeah.
Okay, I got my teams mixed up. I was just thinking that the Bucks won. Never mind. It doesn't matter. It's over. But yeah, that game was a very weird game in the first half, and it was really just turnovers that made. I mean, Brady didn't even look that good in my opinion. I mean,
He
he
did what
looked
he needed to do.
fine.
He made this
Exactly.
the few throws. The throw to Johnson, the throw to
fine.
Scotty
He
Miller.
looked
The-
fine
the,
down the
uh,
stretch.
The throw to Godwin that was almost
Yeah.
a touchdown. Well, that was a good throw. That was a good deep throw. But other than that, I mean, yes, the Scotty Miller one and then the Godwin one, which ended up not being a catch because he didn't survive the ground. But other than that, he looked fine. He looked fine. I
was-
don't know how he can play like that against Green Bay, but we'll see.
Well, so New Orleans has a really good defense. They have one of the best defenses in the league.
No, I know.
And Tom Brady went to the game. I assume the game plan was more run heavy because it worked. And I think, yeah, as Brian alluded to it, Tom Brady just did his job. That's what he does all the
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
All you had to do is go into the Superdome and not turn the ball over.
He rarely has that playoff game where you're like, wow, like Super
Yeah.
Bowl 52 was the game, like, and 51
But, like-
probably, where you're like, wow, like that's crazy. But other than that, he just makes the few plays that you need and you're gonna win. Like he's always gonna make those few plays, and that's what makes him.
I think I might speak for a couple people here when I say this, but I was one of the Patriots fans that didn't realize how great Tom Brady's performance against the Eagles was until the next day, because I was like, because it
Well, we're
just
so
felt
pissed.
like, all right, we're gonna go
Exactly.
down, score, and
We did-
that's that. Just the principle is we went
never
down,
punted
scored.
and
I
we
didn't care.
lost.
I didn't really care how we scored. I just cared that we scored. I'm like,
I
okay,
know
we
it.
scored, and then I just was like, they just kept scoring, and eventually I just lost track of stats completely. And by the time I woke up the next morning, just depressed as ever, I looked at my phone. God, I had 500 passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how they lost that game. but it evens out. There are some games we probably shouldn't have won, but it's
Like
Yeah.
the Falcons and the Seahawks games.
yeah,
those
it
were-
evens
Yeah.
out.
the
it evens
Ravens
out.
game, Billy Cundiff.
Well,
Hook
I
off
mean,
the
didn't win
post.
That was to
Super Bowl
tie,
that
though,
year.
right?
that was to tie.
No,
That was
no,
the
I know,
tie,
but
and-
still.
Whatever.
Okay.
So the Buccaneers are on to the next round.
Go
The other
Bucks.
game that happened
Bucks. Go Bucks.
yesterday. Chad Hennessy was an absolute bucket and a half. Not really a
JR
bucket
is
and
under
a
the
half.
chat.
Yes, JR. Chad Hennessy was he looked fine.
He did what he needed to
Um,
do, just like Brady.
That
I mean,
pick was terrible. I can tell you right now.
Oh my God, that
yeah.
was
One of the worst.
hilarious.
Yeah.
He's one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen. in my
Tyreek's got to be
entire
down
life.
there somewhere.
yeah.
Let me tell you what, though. He had never thrown a postseason pass in his career. This dude is ancient. He's been around. He's been
35.
bouncing off team to team, just living the backup's life, making a few $1 million just to ride the bench. Which hey, that's a pretty good job. That's a pretty good job. Sit and wait and make $1 million doing that. That's fine. I'd be fine with that. But the big thing about Henny that I was really impressed about was just at the end of the game that 14-13 and a quarter yard scramble on 3rd and 14 to really set them up to put the game in the fridge. That was a really impressive run. All backups will make that play. The interception's expected. It's a backup, but at the end of the day, he in a quarter and a half lost to the Cleveland Browns by a score of 7-3. The Chiefs scored 3, and the Browns had a touchdown. I think that was very impressive because Mahomes gets out, and you're thinking, "Wow, this
They
tide's
could have
turning."
lost.
Browns
They
have
could've.
a
Kansas
ton of
City never
momentum.
scored with Henny on the field.
Best quarterback
Helmet-
goes down.
helmet Higgins.
Browns with all the momentum. It's only a 9-point game. It was 19-10. But Henny comes in and kicks the field goal, goes up 12, and then the defense kind of did the rest.
They
after
scored.
that.
They scored the field goal right after the half, after the Mayfield pick.
Oh, so it was
Kansas City
22-10
went
when he came
scoreless
in?
in the last 29 minutes of the game.
Oh, so he lost 7-0.
How-
So it was 7. It was not 22-10 when he went in. Even
Yeah.
still, the momentum was still
Yeah.
definitely in Cleveland shores, and Henny kind of just the turnover was bad, but it was
did what he
kinda
needed
just
to
held-
do.
It's
he
such
held
a
his ground.
shame that poor Cleveland. I mean, even they
Yeah.
didn't have to win that game to prove that hey, they've turned the corner. They have the team that can win a playoff game. They didn't have to win that game. Competing in that game was almost just as big as winning for that franchise. But it sucks how they basically lost because they fumbled through an end zone. Stupidest rule in all. Of
And it was a
sports.
helmet to helmet.
And it was a
Yes.
helmet to helmet.
Like, how was that? Like, one, that should have been called. Two, it was called in the New Orleans game when the guy hit his shoulder. Like, seriously.
No, I
Yeah.
know.
And then three, that dumbest rule in sports. Why does the other team get the ball? Like,
I
that
don't
makes
know.
no
Yeah.
sense.
Because when the ball is rolled forward and it goes out of bounds,
it returns
to the spot of the fumble. Exactly. That's exactly what it should be.
That's what it should be. Or if you really want to make it drastic, you go back to the line of scrimmage and lose it down. Make it grounding. Like, that can be the penalty. It's like
Yeah,
loss
it
of
doesn't
down.
matter.
There you
It
go.
should not be loss of possession.
Yeah, like why?
That's the important part.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Yeah.
Such
But
a
how
bad
about
rule.
Andy Reid with that call?
That was
Nobody thought
crazy.
that they were going to run a
runs that
play.
play with Mahomes and Tyreek
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time, and I was
Nobody,
like, the fact
but
that-
nobody thinks they're going to run a play.
No.
They're just
It
standing there,
surprised me.
and then he just says, "Set, go." They run a play.
When
out of the
you
shotgun,
I
when
mean,
he was in
that's
shotgun, I was
fun.
like,
That's-
"What is he doing?"
I know. it's just
when
like,
you
what?
surprise Tony Romo, you know that you did something that
Romo
no
was
one
like,
expected.
"Oh my God,
I
they
tell
sat
you-
on that guy."
I know.
I could tell you what I was doing when that play happened. A play, they got it down to the end. They were just reviewing the play. They finished reviewing the play that their Kansas City was going to go and run down the clock. I picked up my phone, just scrolled through Instagram, whatever, and then I hear Tony Romo just like, "Oh my God!" I look up and they're running the play. Like
Yeah.
it totally completely caught
Oh
me
my
off.
God, Jim!
And what to do with a backup quarterback too? Like,
I know.
my
He
goodness.
he trusts his players, and it shows.
Game on the
shows
line.
right there. I mean,
Mahomes is on another planet. Jeez, that guy.
I know. Oh,
I love how the week before we were all the three of you guys were thinking, "Oh, Steelers should have punted." I'm like, "Steelers should have gone for it." And then before the fourth and inches play, we were all like, "Yeah,
Well,
they should have punted,"
I
and they
mean-
go for it.
I mean that's
They're
a
If you
little
don't get that
crazy.
first down, that's a
Yeah.
fireable offense.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "All right, they should punt
Here,
it."
guys, have the
Punt
ball at midfield with a minute and a half just to score a touchdown. We'll give it to you. Might as
Touchdown
well.
with the AFC Championship on the line.
Oh,
Even though the Browns came close, I still stand by my my point in saying that I don't think that they are a Super Bowl contending team yet.
Yeah, I don't think they're a
If
Super Bowl
if if Mahomes was in there, it would have been a completely different game. Baker's not going to win an AFC Championship game or a Super Bowl game throwing 204 and 1 touchdown and a pick. Like that's not an elite quarterback.
They've shown they can win a playoff game.
Unless he has a
Yes.
top 3 defense, that's not a quarterback that can win a conference championship or Super Bowl.
And-
So I mean, there's still a little. Baker needs to step it up a little bit more, and then we can say something. But as of right now, I don't really think that they can compete.
And to build off of what you said, Luke, I think that even this just shows that the Browns-Steelers game for Cleveland was even a bigger fluke than we even thought it was, because they go up and put up 48 points on the number 3 top 3 defense in the NFL, put up 48 points on them. Then they go to Kansas City the next week, who has a mediocre defense, around average in the league, and only puts up 17 points.
Yeah. And it
Like,
wasn't
there it
really
is.
their offense that scored. Their defense scored the fumble. Their defense got them in very good positioning with the interceptions on Roethlisberger. So it really wasn't their offense a lot. I mean, their offense scored a lot of points, but it was because they were put in fantastic situations by their defense by getting picks and fumbles and the sort.
Yeah.
So I still think that Baker has I mean, does he have it in him? Sure. But he's been in the league now. This is his third year.
Third year. Yeah.
Third year, and he's just a guy. He's a jag. He's a jag.
Good
He's just
dude.
another guy.
He's
got a-
definitely getting better though. Which
He is getting better.
what
I
matters.
think he's
bad
surpassed
last year.
the whole Jag.
Yeah.
The Jag. I think he's surpassed being a Jag. Just the playoff win. Put Cleveland on the map. Making the playoffs, and then beating the Steelers just kind of put Cleveland on the map. They should be in the playoffs next year.
Exactly.
We're getting Odell back. All this obviously depends on where Deshaun Watson goes, but
Yeah.
they'll be in the playoffs next year, and I think they've kind of solidified themselves in the AFC that hey, we're going to be regular now in the playoffs.
Especially by beating the Steelers, because in the past 20 years, who's been just beating up just nonstop on the Browns? The Steelers.
Right.
So
Steelers.
sending them home in the playoffs is huge for that franchise.
I thought you were going to say Steelers in the playoffs, and I was thinking Brady for a second for some reason.
No.
Well, how funny would it be if good old Buffalo ends up playing Brady in the Super Bowl?
That
Just
would
to
be crazy.
bury
Speaking of
them.
Buffalo, next game. I said on Thursday, the Ravens offense scared me and they gave me freaking nightmares. 3 points? Are you freaking kidding me? What the F is this?
Here's what Nick was saying. Okay, so here's what it is. Total yards. Nick was saying how many yards they were getting, all this, all that.
Wait.
They did get. You were talking about how many yards.
Rushing yards. I was
Yeah,
fixing
rushing
on rushing.
yards.
Yeah, they rushed it well.
Exactly. Yeah, they rushed the ball well.
Yeah.
They got 340 total yards. Buffalo had 220. They
kidding
don't
me?
put points on the board. Yep, they don't put points on the board. They were 0 for 3 in the red zone with a pick 6.
Right.
I mean, on paper, Baltimore should have won this game.
They should have.
If you look at the
Baltimore made-
stats,
Their defense balled out, too. They played a
Baltimore
really
made
good
4
game.
mistakes. 4 mistakes. Pick 6. Biggest mistake of all. That was a 14-point turnaround. Maybe. 14
two
to-
doinks.
Well, yeah, how would
The
you
2
say?
doinks from Justin Tucker,
Great.
one of the most accurate kicker in the game. We're up to 3 now. The shank from the punter, special teams, set up
That
Buffalo
was
for a field
awesome.
goal.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
22-yard punt, set Buffalo up in
that was
Baltimore
a-
territory. They went
that
down,
was
kicked the
a-
field goal.
That was an actual that was a
Baltimore-
shank. That wasn't just like a
Baltimore's
bad. Oof, that was crazy.
Offensive Baltimore special teams cost them several points, and offensively, the big thing was the pick 6. But let me tell you, Lamar, if Baltimore, I think Baltimore has the potential to contend again next year, or sorry, be better.
Contend
I think
for a
Baltimore is
divisional
better
round
than they were this
loss.
year. And I think that if Lamar Jackson can clean up the mistakes, go this offseason with a mission to work on the accuracy, he won't make a Josh Allen transformation. I'm not saying he's going to do anything, but if he can make some sort of improvement on the accuracy, short yardage, the decision making, which all
If he could throw
If he
the ball,
makes
he'd
a
be
position
unstoppable.
change to running back
He
or a
would be
freaking punt
unstoppable if
returner,
he could
yeah,
throw
he'd
the
be
ball.
a Pro Bowler.
I think if Lamar Jackson can go and make some improvements, not become a bottom 5 passing quarterback in the league, maybe move it up a couple of notches, maybe improve the completion percentage, maybe improve the confidence, then I think that the
Confidence?
Ravens
You don't
can
think he has
roll.
confidence?
Dan Orlovsky said they need a weapon
Big
receiving
trust.
wise. They can make it. Lamar Jackson's such a running quarterback that they'd be wasting receiving. They'd be wasting a the talent of a top receiver under Lamar Jackson, because we've established Lamar Jackson's not a great passer. So that talent of that receiver would be wasted.
That's why you
So
move him to special teams and you get a different quarterback. He can be your punt returner.
Brian, you think Baltimore should draft a quarterback?
I think Baltimore should 100% move on from Lamar. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with that guy as your quarterback. It's not going to happen. Has a running quarterback ever won a Super Bowl like that? No, and it will never happen.
Extend him in the next couple of.
They made a huge mistake. There'll be a wild card divisional round exit every single year because you will never win a playoff game. When it comes down to the point when it's 3rd and 10 and you need to make a good throw, he ain't making that throw. You're going to lose.
He made one good throw to Marquise Brown. That was it.
Let me tell you what. Let me give me a sec. Give me the floor for a second. No interruptions. I think that I was very low on Josh Allen 2 years ago, and he made a huge improvement. He made a huge improvement this offseason. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's going to make that kind of improvement. He's not going to make that kind of improvement, but if he can improve in some way, I think Baltimore can be a really good football team. If he can improve in some way passing the football, because I think he's better than most running backs as a runner.
Yeah, that's why he should play that position.
If he played running back, he'd be out of the league in 3 years.
I can't picture Lamar Jackson. That was just I don't know.
He would be a great punt returner though.
Yeah, but so I mean,
change to like number like
mobile quarterbacks.
94.
Mobile quarterbacks are obviously they're just taking over the league, but it doesn't matter how mobile you are. You see Brady, you see Rodgers, you see Mahomes, you see those 3 guys in the championship games, and Josh Allen, all great passing quarterbacks. Passing takes precedence over running.
And the other running quarterbacks that there are, I wouldn't say they look for the run first.
No, Lamar
like Deshaun Watson, he can run.
Exactly.
But
Kyler Murray,
pass first.
They don't. Lamar isn't trying to ever throw the ball. He will look at one guy. Oh, I agree. He's not open.
There.
I'm gonna run.
Yes,
I disagree.
That's exactly what he did on the pick. He's staring at a guy.
He doesn't look at anybody else. He doesn't know what to do.
And
Harbaugh has gone.
The guy who picked it, user lurk, take it 100 yards, house call.
He's awful.
Harbaugh, I've seen ESPN discussions on this. Harbaugh's even talked about it in press conference. I wasn't even not Harbaugh. It was the Ravens coach. Lamar Jackson is when they call a pass play, he's not thinking to run first. But what he does do that makes it seem like he runs first is that he doesn't look at every receiver. So he only has a couple of receivers in mind, looks at them, and then takes off. Because Ravens Baltimore's offense values his running ability so much that they put that option ahead of some receiving options. They put that maybe number 3.
Past the divisional round.
Your first look, your second look, then you take. They surprised me. I thought they were going to get past the division last year. I thought they were going to beat Buffalo, and they played the game to beat Buffalo. They just didn't come through when it mattered the most.
Yeah, because they didn't.
And that's something he's got to go improve on this offseason. That's something they're going to go improve on in this offseason. And I think they're going to come back a better team next year, and they're going to be better situational next year.
I just love how polar opposite both offenses were. Like the Bills literally didn't run the ball at all, and the Ravens did not pass the ball at all. It was completely different of each other.
Was it like 6 or 7 consecutive passes?
I think there was.
The game for Buffalo or something like that?
I think there was one point where Buffalo had like 18 passes and 0 rushes.
Oh yeah, it was something ridiculous like that. Because I remember Al Michaels specifically, or Chris Collins was one of the 2 specifically saying, Buffalo hasn't run the ball yet. And the graphic came up, it was like something in the teens for consecutive passes, and
it was
0
nuts.
rushes.
Yeah.
Their only rush play for like an entire 2 or 3 drives was a Josh Allen scramble. That was their only rush.
No, I know.
I personally feel bad for Singletary because every time Singletary gets the rock, he takes it for good yards. He's a good running back. He reminds me a lot of LaShawn McCoy, but he doesn't get many carries. He does. The way he runs, he doesn't get many.
What, with the ball like a freaking breadbasket?
No, I like the shifting. He's a shifty running back. I like the way he runs, but he doesn't get the ball.
The shift up. There's the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the last game we really don't need to talk about because that was kind of a weird game. I mean, the Rams made it a game when Cam Akers scored that Wildcat touchdown, but I really didn't see the Packers losing that game at all at any point of that football game.
They dominated.
Felt like what we said last week for the Brady or Tampa Bay and Washington game. It was a classic Patriots playoff game where it might be close, but they were never going to lose. That's what that game against Washington was for Tampa. It was close, but they were never going to lose.
Remember Pages when we played the Chargers and it was actually like a 14-point game?
Yeah, it was 41-28 to final, but we were up like 100, it felt like.
They were up like they scored the first 5 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah, we were never going to it's those kind of games where the score might look closer, but it wasn't close.
It's like, they cut it to a 2-score game with 30 seconds left. Ooh.
The Bills started out with 19 straight pass plays. I mean, one of them was a scramble,
19.
It's
but
ridiculous.
it
One
counts
was
as
a
a
rush.
pass.
The one rush was a Josh Allen scramble for like 7 yards.
So I don't even count that because it was a pass play. It wasn't intended to be passed.
Design pass play.
So 19 initial pass plays by the Bills before we move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Stage is set for conference championship weekend next weekend. We
Go
got
Bills.
the AFC Bills, Chiefs, and then Buccaneers, Packers. Oh, who knows
3
if
o'clock
Mahomes?
for the NFC, 6:40 for the AFC.
Yes, all good stuff. Who actually? Yeah, we'll go. Andrew, what you got for us?
All right. So, as you know, as many of you know, we are a podcast for the people. And so today we got another top 5 for us. And today we're doing top 5 sports movies. Nick, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I want to add on to what Andrew said because when we first started this podcast, we were the Big Four Sports Podcast, but now we're just a Big Four Podcast. There's something in that. Take away the sports. Hey, we're just a podcast for the people, baby.
So do we
Yeah.
just talk about
5.
interior
What?
designing and how to make your house?
I don't know when
look
we took away the
better?
sports. And I don't
We're
even know when
gonna-
we had the sports.
we're gonna
honestly.
talk about-
That's our next.
Next
That's our next
episode
step,
is on
interior design.
crossbeams.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Beams?
For my top 5 sports movies of all time, I'm going to start with the honorable mention because it's Miracle, the hockey movie. And the reason I've seen it for 4 or 5 times, but the reason it's my honorable mention and not my top 5, it's a lot of people's top 5s. It's because I've never been big on hockey, so I never felt connected. I never could get into the movie, enjoy it, even though it's a great movie. Number 5, Angels in the Outfield is the first sports movie I've ever seen, the first one, and I've always loved it since. It's kind of a random movie. It's not the best baseball movie in the world, but I owe a lot to this movie. 4, Major League, makes me laugh every time I see it. 3, Tin Cup, favorite golf movie of all time. 2, When the Game Stands Tall. That's a great football movie. It's my favorite. And then number 1, Moneyball. I saw it when I was in college for the first time, and I've seen it like 5-6 times since. Moneyball's my favorite sport.
That you just saw it recently. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're refusing to take it off Netflix. It's always been on.
Oh, it's on Netflix?
Oh yeah, it's been on Netflix.
Sure?
That's how I saw it. I saw it
I
on
didn't
Netflix
realize
for
it
the
was
first
on
time.
Netflix. Oh.
It's been on it since.
Yeah. All right, Brian.
All right. So my list has shifted around since before we were kind of talking, the 4 of us, about movies. And my honorable mention is The Blind Side. Great movie. It's great. I love it, but I don't know. These other 5 are too good. 5, I have Miracle. Nothing beats a moment of, that kind of, I don't know. It was awesome. Great movie, great story. No, it's awesome. Field of Dreams 4 speaks for itself. One of the best baseball movies. It's, an oldie, but it's,
Old but
still,
gold.
still been, a lot of those old sport movies have remained one of the better ones. Rudy is 3. I love Rudy. Another older one, but Rudy's awesome. The music in Rudy's really good. 2, I have Moneyball. Love Moneyball. And 1, I have Sandlot. I'm surprised you didn't have that, Nick.
No, I'm one of the few people that never really liked The Sandlot.
It's a classic. It's like
All right,
it
Luke.
just brings. It's like it feels like a childhood thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
My variation of that is Angels in the Outfield.
Okay. So before anyone who actually listens to us kills me, they already know because we went over it and they had a very bad reaction. But I have never seen these following movies. I've never seen Rudy. I've never seen Friday Night Lights. I've never seen Remember the Titans, The Blind Side, Moneyball, and then it doesn't really matter, but the full Rocky movie. I've never seen that full movie. Never seen it.
The first two, like Rudy, and then the other one, Friday Night Lights. I've never seen either.
Yeah, but I've never seen Remember
Watch
the Titans,
Rudy.
Blind
Rudy's
Side.
awesome.
That's
Moneyball.
crazy, dude.
I watch sports movies. I'd rather watch real sports. So I mean,
That's fine. I haven't watched a movie in years, but
I
still,
never
I've seen
get
all
to
these.
watch. I never watch sports movies. I don't know why, but I have seen at least 5, so I could make a list. Number 5, Field of Dreams. Brian already said that one. I think Nick didn't have it. I don't think he did.
No, I didn't.
Number 4 is Radio. None of you have ever seen it. I really liked it. I saw it for the first time on Netflix. It's not on Netflix anymore because I saw it a long time ago. But I really liked it a lot. So yeah, that Radio is number 4. 42 is number 3. I really like that one
That's a
too.
good one.
Another movie
Yeah,
when
that's
I
a good
saw
movie.
another movie that I saw when I was younger. so I don't remember it that much, and I haven't seen it in a while, but I do remember that it was very good. Number 2 is Hoosiers. This is one that I
Hoosiers is
have
really
seen
good.
more recently because it's a movie where you kind of really can't see it as a little kid because you won't appreciate it. You don't know what it's like. It's very boring in terms of action and all that stuff, but it's a good movie. And then number 1 is Sandlot. That's just El Clasico. So, Andrew, go ahead.
All right. So honorable mentions. I got a couple of them. I got The Longest Yard, The Blind Side, and Moneyball. Number 5, I've got to go Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore's just a classic. I love it. I mean, I can watch it a ton of times. Number 4, not on any of your lists or honorable mentions, Rocky 4. I love that movie.
I don't even know.
Number 3, I got The Sandlot. Number 2, I got Miracle. And number 1, I got Remember the Titans.
That's another movie I've never seen, Miracle. I forgot to put that on. Never
That's
seen
crazy,
Miracle.
dude. That's crazy.
That's the King Kong of all of them right there.
That's
What?
crazy.
Never seen Miracle.
Yeah, I've never seen Miracle.
I've seen Miracle. I've seen Miracle several times. I don't even watch hockey.
I watched Miracle probably like 10 times in March when it was the anniversary in February, like this past year. Like so when
Yeah.
we had nothing going on.
I mean,
All like ESPN had like a whole feature on it and stuff. So I probably watched the movie like legit 10 times in the last.
I haven't seen Miracle because I know what happens. Like I know what happens to
That's like in every sports movie.
hockey team. I know
the
that's
good team, and except when the game stands tall, because the dynasty ends and they actually lose the last game in the movie. Which is
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
a
it.
good movie, but I feel
They
like
win the
it's
last
never
game, but
seen
they
that
go
movie.
1-2 to start the year after winning like 150 like straight games.
De La
Or something
Salle.
ridiculous.
Thanks for
Yeah,
spoiling it
so-
for me, Nick.
Like you
you're
were gonna even watch
anyways.
it.
No,
'Cause
I
you
wasn't
know
gonna
what's
watch it.
gonna happen.
I know it's gonna
And
happen.
the game,
Well, now I know
movie's
what's
not
gonna happen.
surrounded about the last game they win. Like that's not like the
Yeah.
glory. It's a freaking regular season game.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a story. But they have a good. Most
Story. It's the
sports
whole
movies
story.
have great stories.
This is
Okay.
that movie's not like a big ending. It's not based on the ending. A lot of movies are. This isn't.
Oh, you know what? Actually, hold on. I'm not gonna put this into my top 5, but when I just I don't know if this classifies as a sports movie, but have
Good.
any of you seen Real Steel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good movie. I like that movie.
That's a
I
good
don't know
movie.
if it.
I don't know
I don't know if
if
it
it's a sports
classifies.
movie.
I don't know if it classifies, but I like that movie a lot.
Robot boxing?
Boxing,
count
I
as a
don't know,
sport?
but it's a good movie. I like it. Just throw that out there. All right, swing it over, Nick. Nick, what do you got
Yeah.
for us?
We have another segment of Yay Sheet or Yield. It's not a new segment, and it's sponsored by no one. Shocker. Everything here is sponsored by no one. So if you know someone that could sponsor us, please. Or that, yeah. Anyways, so we're gonna go around Andrew, Brian, Luke, and then me. Number 1, we haven't talked about the NBA today, but this is the first Yay Sheet or Yield segment since the Brooklyn trade, and they coming off a good win. I forget who they played, but Kevin Durant had like 42 points. It was ridiculous.
They played
Can
Orlando.
Can Brooklyn and Stephen A. Smith said he thinks Brooklyn can contend without Kyrie. So Andrew, I want to know what your thoughts about that.
I'm gonna say no, especially come playoff time. I mean, games just start to stack up. You need a bench. It's proven you need a bench. You need some bench scoring, and I mean, you can really ask Landry Shamet to get you 15 points a game. No.
I'm gonna say
Absolutely
no
not.
as well. They don't have any depth. They traded their entire team away, their entire future away. Yeah, this season, I don't know. I can't see those guys are gonna have Harden and Durant in that game on Saturday.
32 and
Scored
42.
or assisted on 107 points.
Yep.
They combined them between the two of themselves for right around 75.
Yep.
And I don't know if you can always get that extra 30 from that bench every night. I don't think you can. Joe Harris had 20-something points in that game. You're not getting 20
Yeah.
from Joe Harris every game.
You're not getting
So,
42 from KD every game.
If you're not putting up, if Katie and Harden aren't combining for 60, if they're 60 is the minimum for them to even be.
They need video game numbers.
I don't think they can't do it every
Yeah.
night. They can't.
No. Two eats.
I'm saying yes, but only because of the teams that are in the East. I think the Bucks stink. They're a regular season team. That's it. The Sixers also are weirdly good this year, but I just don't.
They
see
start
them-
off good. They'll start.
They
to
always
flatten
start off
out.
good, and then the rest of the team that are in the playoff spots, like the Pacers, Knicks, Cavs, Hawks, those are all just random teams that are been off to good hot starts, and then teams that you would expect to be in the playoffs. The Heat and the Raptors just stink, and they're just bad teams overall, in my opinion. So, I mean, realistically, it's the Celtics and maybe the Bucks because they got Drew Holiday now, so they're a better team than last year. But other than that, I don't see them losing in the playoffs to any other team. So, I mean, in itself is contending to me. And then I think they can beat the Celtics and Bucks if they play a decent series in 7 games. So I think that they can contend and potentially go to the finals without Kyrie.
So yes, I'm gonna say yes too, for a different reason. I think that we underestimate the power of a player giving a hoot, and James Harden did not give a hoot in Houston.
That is true.
He gives a much bigger hoot now in Brooklyn, and he enjoys being
like
there.
5 hoots.
He enjoys playing with KD. I think it's more the fact that he knows he's playing with greatness, and he knows that when they play together, when they play well, they can win. Now, the lack of bench, that's an issue because they're going to find themselves in a lot of close games because of that lack of depth on their bench.
Yeah, they were close with Orlando.
They're going to find themselves in a lot of close games, but the fact that Harden cares and he wants to be there, I think is going to elevate his play. I think they can still win, but it's going to be the odds are against them just because they're going to be dealing with a lot of close games, and they're probably going to have to take load management because they're playing close to 40 minutes a game carrying this team. You can't do that every night. You can't play 40 minutes a game. Okay, moving on back to the NFL. This question, I got to word this the right way, or else it's never going to be answered properly. But Rodgers is probably going to win the MVP. It's kind of his FU tour after they drafted Jordan Love, literally rolling through the NFC. A Super Bowl would mean a lot to his legacy. Same thing with Brady. I mean, come on, it's Tom Brady. Super Bowl for Tom Brady would be huge. Mahomes and Reed going again for the second straight year, trying to win it back-to-back, the domination of the past 2 years, or the entire Buffalo Bills making a Super Bowl, kind of solidify themselves as a new force in the AFC, big force that can beat KC if they do it this weekend. Between those 4 reasons, Andrew, which team stands to gain the most from a victory in the AFC Championship and NFC Championship games?
I feel like Tom Brady's basically solidified his greatness. The Bills are a new team. I mean, you expected this out of a 2 seed, but I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Mahomes did it last year. It's their 3rd straight championship game. I think it's the Packers. I think that the Green Bay Packers need to win the championship, their conference championship the most. I mean, Aaron Rodgers coming off, like you said, MVP. He's got to play like one to beat the Buccaneers.
Right.
He's only won 1 Super Bowl, so I feel like he needs to get to another one and win it in order to really solidify his greatness too. So I feel like it's the Green Bay Packers.
So he got it. He understood the question. Brian, I'm afraid what you're going to say. But go ahead.
Well, team that's going to benefit the most from winning the Super Bowl is the team.
No, not the team. The reasons: the Rodgers, Brady, Reed / Mahomes, or the Buffalo Bills.
The guy who wins the Super Bowl will benefit the most from winning the Super Bowl because he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you got to pick one of the 4 options, dummy. Like if Brady goes to the Super Bowl, he's going to.
I understand what you're saying, but
then why aren't you answering the question the right way?
Because it's kind of stupid. Because everyone benefits from winning a championship.
Okay, Brian.
Nobody benefits more than the other team for winning a championship.
2 guys do stupid things, the outcome's going to be stupider.
Brian, I basically phrased it as such. Who has the least to lose in the conference championship games? Who has the least to lose?
Legacy-wise.
Oh, God.
Yes, legacy-wise.
Yes.
Mahomes, probably? No, probably Brady, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, Luke.
It's a stupid question.
You're a stupid person.
Luke can
add
too.
this to
Stupid person.
Luke, add this.
Andrew got it.
So it is a kind of tough question to answer in terms of like.
It's kind of like who has the most on the line. Like if they lose.
Rodgers, then that's 100% Rodgers.
Rodgers has the most on the line.
That's how I thought of the question.
So it's you kind of think of the other way, like Rodgers has the most on the line, so this is kind of a must-win MVP season whatsoever.
Yes.
I mean, everything
so what
else
team has
Super Bowl.
what team / player has?
Okay, so let me go through them. The Buccaneers. I don't really think that. So now I get it. Now I'm gonna do it like as if if this team doesn't win this year, like what team needs to win this year, or else they're not going to win for a while. That's honestly how I'm getting it. That's how I'm gonna. This is how I'm gonna answer this question. The Bucks.
On the line.
It's not going to be the Bucks because Brady and that defense is only getting better, and it's super young, so they're going to get more experience. And Brady's not going anywhere because he threw for the second most touchdowns in his entire career. So they're going to be in the Super Bowl for a few years, or at least contending for one. The Chiefs, they're going to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC for the next 10 years. That's just a fact. And then it's between the Packers and the Bills. I feel like Rodgers is similar to Brady. He is younger, but like similar to Brady in that he's going to be the MVP this season. He's going to be on the team for the next 5 or 6 years. He's not going to. Yeah, I don't see him going away for a while.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Rodgers to play for the Green Bay Packers next season.
So Jordan Love's not going to start next season. It's obvious now. Yeah, it's obvious.
He's not going to start
obvious.
He's going to.
Garoppolo, it's the same thing.
If he wants to play, he's going to get traded. Or he's going to get traded if he wants to play. Rodgers is going to be there for a long time, and if the front office of Green Bay has any kind of intellect or has any kind of desire to win, then they're going to draft either offensive weapons or just a better defense overall. Either one. They don't need to draft the running back and the quarterback with their first 2 picks again. So I think that they have the best chance or a good chance of going back to the Super Bowls and stuff. The Bills, however, they are good, and Josh Allen is ascending, but we've never seen this from them before. So who knows what's going to happen next year? And their offensive coordinator was looking into head coaching jobs. He could get one in the future. Then they have to get another OC, and it's just a little bit more shaky. So I feel like the Bills should be. I don't know how to word this answer, but the Bills.
The Bills have the most to gain from winning, and I agree with that statement. I think the Bills have the most to gain from winning, and I also think they are the only team that has something to gain. Well, not the only team, but as a whole, they have something to gain from losing. Because even if they lose, because they made the AFC Championship game, they show that they can get to that big stage in the AFC. Because I don't think anyone's going to beat Mahomes. I just think that team is just too good. You're in the AFC, you're bound to lose at some point in the playoffs if you make the playoffs. But if Buffalo can pull this off, they can beat Mahomes, go to the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter what happens in the Super Bowl. If they can beat Mahomes, that means they're the top dog in the AFC. They just beat Mahomes, and they're only getting better. Allen's only getting better. I think that Buffalo's got more to improve. They're only going to. I repeated myself again, but they're only going to get better next year. And if they can prove right now at this state that Josh Allen is in, and they can beat Mahomes, they're probably going to do it again next year. So I think Rodgers next year. We'll see Rodgers again. Brady, we're going to see Brady again next year. Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're going to be in the AFC Championship game again next year. But Buffalo, they might be hosting the AFC Championship game next year, and they're going to give me a darn good idea of what next year is going to look like if they can beat Patrick Mahomes this coming up week. Because I think Buffalo could really be a dangerous team. And they're the 2 seeds, so it's not a huge upset. But for this year, I think it is.
Yep. Quick thing for our hockey fans before we wrap it up.
Bruins
just lost 1-0
They can't score goals.
They can't score. They have no offense.
It's
so bad.
They outshoot every team. They just can't.
They outshot them by 10. It was 27-17.
They hit the freaking chest of the goalie every freaking shot. It's ridiculous.
Hey, pucks on net. Pucks on net.
Nah, pucks on net. Freaking hit
pucks in net.
On net, yeah, but don't hit the goalie. Hit a couple crossbars at least.
That's the one place you don't want to shoot is directly at the goalie.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, the Bruins
1-1
now, so that's kind of rough after playing New Jersey twice and New Orleans. The Islanders are pretty good though.
They went to the
They're good.
Finals.
They're fine, but still, it's still frustrating to watch. Even though I didn't really watch it, I just saw
just no offense.
Final thoughts, anyone?
Final thoughts.
Pats.
Phoenix Suns are falling apart.
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns are up early.
Oh, Phoenix.
They just lost to Memphis.
They just lost to Memphis. Memphis has Morant back. They're good. Memphis is a good team.
Congrats to Tom Brady for having doubled the amount of playoff wins than any other quarterback in NFL history
Yep.
with 32. Joe Montana
Imagine being
second with
14-2
16.
in the divisional round.
As a
That's
Patriots fan, look at the stat. Brady has 32 playoff wins. Doing has 35. It kind of depressed me because now I'm like,
insane.
God, this guy, our entire franchise, we owe to this dude. Like seriously, one guy.
Yep.
Now people
Yeah.
can say, "Oh, it's." I wish you were better before
He
Brady.
Well,
is
that's-
the
we have something to hold
Wait,
for.
how's that possible? We've been to 2 Super Bowls before him, so how the heck do we only have 35?
I don't know, but I saw we had 35 and he had 32. Well, it wasn't 3 playoff
31.
games.
He just
It
got
was-
32.
Yeah,
That
no, I
makes
saw a
sense.
stat this morning that he's won 2 playoff games, so we
That
had
makes
5
sense,
playoff
no.
wins.
All right.
Yeah.
that's
depressing.
how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Knowing how
But-
bad the Patriots were before I was born.
But we are done. We're done. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you back on Thursday. And then next Monday, we got something super cool. Not super well, yeah, super cool. In my
Super cool.
opinion.
It's
super
super
cool.
cool.
It's super
It's super
cool.
cool.
It's
It is.
super cool.
How cool is it?
It's super cool.
Super.
Super SUPAH super. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Big Four Big Four underscore podcast. Big Four underscore podcast on Instagram and Twitter. See you on Thursday. Peace.